Hello? Give me a minute. Let's start proper. I've just finished my lunch. I'm sorry, Far Jaden, that you're being taken away for adult things. Not a term for... I mean, adulting. I mean, hi. How's everyone doing? I hope you're doing well. I'm shiny. I'm extra see-through. My God, why is... I'm gonna blame Zin. I'm gonna blame Zin for all this. All this. Everything that's gone wrong here. It's all your fault, Zin. Why didn't I take better care of myself? The General Short, thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated, so. Hi there, just started playing Star Citizen last month. And your videos have been so helpful. I want to say thanks. Thank you very much. It's appreciated. If anyone would like to ask a question during the live stream, question in brackets, and we'll try and read some comments. I'll try and answer your questions, or at least use it as a onboarding for a topic. Obviously, there's lots of stuff we don't know. I can have a lot of I reckon, but I'm relatively expert in Star Citizen knowledge of most of the development of the game, and there's quite a lot, and to keep updated with some of it is difficult at times, but because it's my focus, not that difficult, I suppose. You know, I'm trying to make it sound like I'm more mystical than I am. I can read a bit. And if you'd like me to have read a bit and then impart that reading knowledge onto you, then it's good that you're here. I'm bad at talking and at streams. I'm not going to be on for too long. My mother, unfortunately, has injured her knee and is bedbound. So I have to help her around and feed her and stuff like that. Not baby bird. I don't go into her mouth or anything. Not yet. But yeah, it's a bit annoying, a bit stressful. But she's recovering, and she's almost able to walk again, which is good. Unassisted, or mostly unassisted. Jake Short, got this on in the background while I'm finishing up writing my thesis. 30k done, 10 more to go. What is your thesis on, Jake, if you don't mind me asking? Anything related or interesting? Well, I suppose it doesn't have to be interesting. It might be interesting to some people and not others, would be my expectation of a thesis. And of conversation in general. But I hope everyone is doing well. So some of the stuff I want to talk about today, obviously whatever people want to talk about in comments, but it'll be things like the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, about 3.15, and moving into November. But I think that obviously the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo is pretty big, and it's the biggest financial earner for CIG. It's pretty important for them. Just give her a wheelchair and wish her good luck. I think that would cause her pain, unfortunately. So she sort of needs to have her leg in a particular way, and often I have to get peas or sweet corn interchangeably to put on her knee. She likes her own home remedies. Which space? Morning, BG. Loved your demonstration of how to dance on the worm in the recent YouTube post. That's one gorgeous animation bug. Yeah, so there's been a few weird animation-y things, like the one where I'm sort of spinning in the recent video. That was really odd. And one I have not encountered before. Especially one I had full control of. But it was exercising the moving of the third-person camera, which caused my model to spin. Which was even weirder, because that shouldn't be controllable like that. That's not a control that should change the model. Unfortunately, the Ganj is not legalized in the UK yet. Maybe one day. Being able to play games at the peak optimal performance that could give would be good. Be fun anyway. Maybe not good. Do you think Cargo Refactor, or at least a stage of it, will come in 3.16 or only in 3.17? Okay, so you're getting framework towards Cargo Refactor in 3.16 and 3.17, whatever. Yeah, so some bits, little bits updated would be my expectation. So 3.17 at the moment. Do they still have the hangars in? Let's have a quick look. Let's bring up the roadmap. Boop. So at the moment for 3.17, we still have persistent hangars, and that would be my expectation would be persistent hangars would allow you to store your stuff there. So that would be a big part of the sort of like Cargo Refactor. Now we don't know exactly when Cargo Refactor is coming. We know they're working on it. We know there's lots of associated things with the dynamic economy and the local inventory and updates to physical inventory. But obviously persistent hangars are a big step towards that as well. And sort of having your own space and spaces. But we know they're working on the sort of updated cargo systems, but we don't know when that's going to be. Soonish, but that could be 3.17, that could be at the end of 2020. Did they fix splitting in the PTU? Can you be more precise what you mean by that, Brad? Sorry. BoredGamer, a very big streamer. Summit. I know, I watched Summit. Sometimes I was trying out Star Citizen for the first time. I think Captain Burks was doing some walking through of him with that. Yeah, I think you'll see more and more big streamers check out Star Citizen. The more it becomes more accessible, because I suspect you see a few. I mean, like you see was it Cyanide and Womble, and Soviet Womble. People like them checking it out. It's a Gundam. Checks out Star Citizen occasionally. Was it it's Quebec. So there are quite a few content creators that I think are pretty big that do check out Star Citizen occasionally. And I think you'll see them and more potentially check it out during the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo when Star Citizen's effectively free during that time. And as the game just gets more and more playable. Also, Theatres of War. When Theatres of War is a polished playable experience, which is probably when they want to then release it, I think that will get a lot of traction with a larger community. Jericho Pliskin. Money kisses. Redeemer likely to be solo, question mark. So I think you're going to lose control of some of the turrets unless you can give them AI blades in the future. I think you'd probably be able to run it relatively well, just with the solo person, although I do think it might lose some functionality if we can't AI blade it. Split inventory stacks would unsplit in 1 second. Yes, you couldn't split stacks. I see what you mean. So last time I tried it, it was still broken. I have not played today. Any updates on the Polaris? No new updates on the Polaris. Some people are expecting some news at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo or later on this year. We know that it was taken off the progress tracker, and they said it's going to come back to progress tracker soon when we know what's going on with it. And it was even implied originally that it was going to be done before the Banning Merchantman, but then we've had loads of Banning Merchantman updates, which then suggest the Banning Merchantman is going to be done before the Polaris, but we don't know. As a new player, should I be holding off and learning the current game mechanics and waiting for 3.15, or was any experience valuable? So there will be some changes in 3.15, but not a huge amount. Well, I'd say not a huge amount. Inventory is massively changed. Medical gameplay adds a huge new element to the game. So in that regard, there are some big changes coming. There is a huge amount of Star Citizen stuff that you can learn now that will make your life easier when you move over to 3.15. General mission running and experience of the game, but just where stuff is, how to travel there, and ships and encounters and general combat, and all those basic things that are there still. The improvements that 3.15 brings should actually just make your life easier, rather than going, oh, now I need to unlearn everything. Medical gameplay is a big addition and improvements, rather than I need to relearn medical stuff. It's just, well, now you can survive and be healed from stuff. And the inventory system is probably the biggest change, because rather than accessing inventory with your Moby Glass, you now press I and access your inventory, which you can then drag and drop stuff onto your character or onto the floor or whatever. But I think that's quite a good general shot. That's a good question. But also, for anyone that's looking at getting in Star Citizen, probably wait until the end of November now, because you can try it for free in November if you're on the fence still. About the Liberator, no, it's in concept. Any bet about release? There is no indication of when the Liberator will be released. We don't know how far it is along, and we don't know if it's a priority or not. However, typically concepted ships that are concepted now or in recent history have a much shorter sort of development and release schedule. Do you think the Banning Merchantman is going to come with a Defender? That's a really good question. So, for people that don't know, the Banning Merchantman has been concept has been updated and tweaked so that it's got a Banning Defender hangar bay at the front that can house a Defender in and service it. So it's okay. It's possible that it will come with one, but it's more likely they'll probably just sell a pack where you can get a Defender with it. Yeah? Also, for everyone that doesn't know, Alpha 3.15 is going to have a full wipe. So everything's going to be wiped other than promotional items and stuff that you've bought with real money. Is there any information / rumors about the largest cargo ships fitting through small jump gates? No indication and no updates on how jump points are going to work in regards to sizes. Something that a lot of people ask me, especially from messages rather than on live streams typically, but I think a lot of people are worried about certain mechanics like cargo, like mining, and its evolutions. BoredGamer, I hear a lot of talk that a lot of the server meshing and sharding, etc., is already in game now, or at least the back end. Whatever is CIG holding back? So, I mean, there's been a lot of work into it. A lot of it works in theory, and all of it works on very small scales. There's still work to do to get some of these new things in. So one of the things that you're seeing in 3.15 is them getting ready for server meshing, very much so, with the new databases and a lot of these new micro services, which are important for server meshing. And then we're going to start to see sharding and all this other stuff phased in over the next few patches. I'm not sure how ready any of it is to be deployed, but obviously there's been a lot of work on all of it. What is your opinion about the Drake Caterpillar price increase for the IAE? I think that's... Have they confirmed that the Caterpillar is definitely increasing in price now? Yeah? They actually confirmed that. Is there any news on the Hull B? And do you predict that it will go higher than its currently 90 quid when it's released? No, I think... I think a little bit more, because when a ship's released from concept to flyable, they will increase its price, even if it's just a little bit. So I think, yeah, you'll probably see it go up by like $10 or whatever. Not much, but it'll go up. I think we'll see the Hull B after the Hull C. Probably a patch or two later. Shouldn't be too much more complex, but it is its own ship. Whatever improvement do you want to see in the inventory system, which is currently glitchy state, not very good? So it needs to be a lot snappier. It needs to actively do what it's supposed to do, like splitting items and things like that. It needs to be able to move stuff around easily. I also want to be able to easily move things between tabs. So if I've got something in my local inventory in my ship, I want to easily be able to move it between the ship and me and the local area, just quickly without fiddling around with stuff. It needs to be a lot less fiddly. It needs to look a ton better. I mean, me and Zin both think that maybe a grid would be a good idea. So maybe you should be able to drag it onto your model, but also have a grid that you can drag it onto too, like you would in a traditional sort of game like, I don't know, even PUBG or anything like that. Just a grid system that I can drag items onto as well. It's very unelegant. That said, it got a magnitude better in the latest PTU release. They sort of updated a load of it. But it still needs a huge amount more work. Was the base place to start for a new citizen? For reference, I only have a 325A and 19,000 credits. That's not bad at all. Very good at FPS. Haven't done too much flying, though. I mean, there's, for 3.15, there's new underground bunker missions. Lots and lots and lots of them, which you can make quite good money on. That is almost entirely pure FPS. That's what I would recommend doing. Which low-cost lifetime insurance ships do you think they will present us during Intergalactic Aerospace Expo? So I think we'll see at least a couple of things. So Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, I'm expecting to see a mobile refinery ship, a small mobile refinery, sort of like under a couple of $100, probably between 120, between $100, $150 maybe, probably, question mark. Maybe a variant of the vehicle, maybe a variant of a large ship as well. Some stuff like that. But there's things like the Argo Raft we could see. That could be the mobile refinery, or it could be a smaller scale transport ship. And what else have we got? Summer Yeti, I hope you're doing well. J-Bud Max, I love your face. You guys are doing well, thank you, thank you. Ethics Gradient. Caterpillar price increase confirmed. It is confirmed, okay. I didn't know if they had actually confirmed it. And have they confirmed what it was, how much the increase was? Or did they just say, it's going to go up in price? Server meshing is the holy grail. Yeah. I mean, server meshing is needed, as is physicalized components, as is every gameplay loop. Dynamic universe sim. They're all sort of super core to the game. They're not holy grails. They're needed so that Star Citizen can exist as a true MMO and be what it said it's going to be. I suppose server meshing working in the way that CIG originally intended it and are still trying to push for it to work. That is hopefully not a holy grail. Hopefully very doable. I don't want the game to be based upon, we must work on this feature until it is complete, and we do not know when it will be complete, because we don't know if it can be complete. That would be ridiculous. Will they do another referral bonus with 3.15? Probably with the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo during the 3.15 cycle. Yeah, so 3.15 at the moment, at least when we last played yesterday, there are issues with the AI and NPCs at the bunkers that they spawn in the elevators, the spawn lockers, but they don't exit them properly. Which is they were working in the patch before, but not in the current patch. Exodus, hope you're well, sir. Any news on anything like a sandbox where you respawn fast to practice flying and stuff? That is Arena Commander and Star Marine. They have that now. It's electronic access. It's Arena Commander. You can access that. That's been a thing for ages. They are updating that more and more. 3.15's got an update to the Broken Moon map to make it much bigger. How's the weather down in Southampton? It's been very polarizing, Embro. Yeah. It's not great. It's not great outside at the moment, mate. It's not awful. It's a sort of stopped raining, and it's sort of like an overcast day. Not great. I mean, I quite like a storm, so I'm not. I'm stuck inside anyway. I say stuck. I want to be inside. I'm actually going out on Saturday to see one of my mates, and probably go out for Halloween after that. I won't be drinking much. I've cut back hugely on drinking. I don't even really enjoy drinking anymore. And for people that have met me in real life at a social, will know that's unlikely. But it's true. I really have. The weekend afterwards, don't know if anyone. I love board games. I play a lot fewer board games than I would like. But going around my mate's house that's really close by to play a 6-player game of Twilight Imperium 4th edition. It is really good Twilight Imperium. And the 4th edition is a much more refined, quicker moving version. But it was still going to take us the whole day on Saturday. Really looking forward to it. Haven't played Twilight Imperium properly played it briefly a couple of weeks ago, sort of learning the rules for this one. And now we're sort of getting ready for a much bigger game. Hopefully people will enjoy it and we'll be able to do it more regularly. Imagine BoredGamer trick-or-treating your house. Money? I don't want sweets, I want money. I'm on keto. that's what I'd say. I don't like the idea of being trick-or-treated. I mean, you don't get really tricked. But what happens is kids come to your door, knock on your door, and want sweets and diabetes. I don't want to give them either. Ethics Gradient, thank you so much. You're a legend amongst humans. That's very much appreciated. He's just donated a 11. Why a weird number? Not that a weird number, I suppose just as weird as 10, except 10's more round. I appreciate it more than 10. Thank you very much, Ethics Gradient. It's very much appreciated. Gifted a total of 71 subs in my channel. I mean, I feel sorry for anyone that's had one sub in my channel. But thank you very much. Tim Skliska, Captain Skrill, Captain Jib, Carthaginians 1, Crown, Captain Jinxie. Well, there's lots of captains here. Miles, Tony Touch, Technique, and Mr. Tommy. You've all been subbed to my channel. I hope you enjoy. Don't know, really, get some emotes and stuff. I need to start putting some member-only content on Twitch as well, I suppose. I'd just mirror it between the Patreons and the YouTube join button, I think. Everyone gets the same stuff. You support the channel further, you all get the same things. Doesn't matter what platform you do it on, I think's the idea. I wonder if I can do that on Twitch. Probably can. Who knows? Question mark. Can we apply a crime stat to Kovalex when you're killed by their machine? I like the idea of having a mission to fix it. Maybe it is an evil AI. Mate. Penguin bars? It needs to be a staple of my country. What else we got here? Mr. BoredGamer, will you do a studio tour soon, or have you already done one? So I've done a load in the past. I think I've done 4 or 5 previously. I have not done one since the COVIDs. So I'll be looking to do one soon again. I need to contact CIG and go, oi, gift tour. They're super important. Like those studio tours for me allow me to get a feel of how healthy the project is, understand a bit more what Cloud Imperium are working on, ask a few questions, get some really good content to talk about, plan some content out that's coming in the future. There's a huge amount that does. Do you think they are doing more work on the cat other than just a reevaluation? I mean, I think they're looking at the modularity for the Caterpillar. I mean, you've got Cousin Co's Custom Craft, which is in the background there. I mean, that's obviously a Kraken that I'm showing, Kraken hologram at Cousin Co's Custom Craft. But one of the things you'll be able to do at the 4Cs is change up your modules on your Caterpillar once there are modules to put on it. Could they possibly surprise us with a Liberator in 3.15? It's incredibly unlikely because they would have said if that was the plan. It's very unlikely. I mean, it could be done in the next few quarters, as sort of like actually we've been working on it for some reason. But how lootable do you think persistent hangars will or should be? At landing zones, especially green areas, not lootable at all. Very, very minimal lootable. I think that would be pretty safe. That would be my expectation. Titan suits, where are they? There's something that I've hugely anticipated for several years now, and I want them in game. We know they've been prioritized to some extent because of theatres of war, but when do you think the Javelin will come? So we occasionally see the Javelin as part of events and missions and stuff. Could we see the Javelin again at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo? Quite possibly. I do suspect we'll see some interesting things during this Intergalactic Aerospace Expo beyond what we normally have. When do I think we'll actually have the Idris and Javelin in our hands actually used properly, rather than just something we might be able to sneakily steal as a bug? That's a good question. They can probably actually do it relatively soon if they wanted to, but it might be something they're waiting for Squadron 42 to come in, or things like that. Why is there so much we don't know? Well, that is the human condition. I mean, so there's so much we don't know because of so much we do know with Star Citizen. Now, let me explain that very confusing thing I just said. So, Star Citizen and the development of Star Citizen, and to some extent Squadron 42, although not so much recently, is hugely sort of like information rich. They give out huge amounts of information and a constant stream of it, and they have those roadmaps and everything like that. But because of that, there's a load of stuff that is then not iterated. There's not fully talked about. It's like, well, what's this mean? What's that mean? What's that mean? What's this? They can't cover all of it, and there's a load of questions that then come from each of these individual things that they start to show, or that's on the roadmap, and then the timelines and exactly what's everything working on, and that changes from day to day. So there's a lot of stuff we don't know, mainly because we know that we want to know about it. Fucking smooth brain here. Oh man. Updated to Windows 11. Have there been any known issues with it? I'm not updating to Windows 11 for a while. I know from reading online and from some other content creators that it slows down their processing of videos using Adobe and things like that. So I'm not going to use something until it is much more supported. That's my personal thoughts. Also, Windows decides to randomly and forcibly update my computer. I've literally turned off updates, and it restarted my computer the other day, changed all my audio files, and was causing loads of crashes. So this is why I don't want Windows updates. And you've literally, well, forcibly updated. That was really, really stressful, really annoying. I feel update violated. So yeah, I do want a tour of the new studio when they're there, but I would like to try to get a quick studio tour of the old Winslow studio before that, if possible. But I will give them a poke, CIG, and see what they say. Have there been any issues with the Star Citizen client updates? As I got a blue screen and a constant bad image JavaScript errors, which led me to reinstall my entire operating system just as my half-term break started. Sad face. That is pretty rough. Oh yeah, one of the reasons I would not upgrade to Windows 11. It's going to be a lot harder to problem solve as well with it. But I'm sure some people have great experience with Windows 11, even in its earliest iterations. And what else have we got here? I would love it, but I'm kind of doubtful considering how much the Defender goes for by itself. Oh yeah. Having a would we get a Defender with the Banner Merchantman, probably in a pack that we can buy separately would be my expectation. So it's everyone's emoticons, their sort of chat icons are broken for me. I don't know why. It's a little annoying. I'll go tiny home. I'm doing pretty well. I've recovered a lot after my father passing. It wasn't as sort of hellish as you might think as a thing. It was something you sort of have to deal with, and I mean, it wasn't untraumatic, but it was it could have been hell, and it was just tragic. Is the differentiation I would make there. My mum is getting a lot better. Unfortunately, my mother has hurt her knee, which means she's pretty crippled at the moment and bedbound, but she's getting a lot better now. But it's been relatively, it's really not been that stressful looking after her. It's not been bad. Will Origin get a homeworld like other major manufacturers? So, no. So, Origin haven't bought a planet in the same way that we have Crusader and Hurston and Microtech and stuff like that. But it will have a planet it is situated on. Is Origin's headquarters on Earth? But it'll still have a headquarters somewhere. And it probably will have shipyards dedicated to it. In orbit or whatever, as well in some places. Any rumour of this small refinery having a mining head? I don't know. I don't know rumours like that. I've not heard of that rumor. Let me be more specific. I heard about the golden armor sets for concierge. And to become a concierge, is there somewhere I can go to purchase these armor sets? So, the golden armor sets for concierge are automatically attributed to your account. So if you just become a concierge, that would probably mean you get the golden pistol, I think it is. And you can get your concierge status on the RSI website, I believe, still. But you get it at different levels of concierge. You get more of the suit and stuff. And I think that in the future, you'll probably be able to buy or rebuy or insure your concierge gear from a concierge store or stuff in-game. Probably. Looks like they're looking at some solutions for people losing some of this like rare gear. What do you think to the AMA server meshing question people have submitted? What do I think about the questions that people have submitted on the AMA for server meshing so far? I do not have it up. Maybe I do. Server crashing. So server crash recovery is in game now for 3.15 on the PU. So the PTU. And I suppose in the PU, but in the PTU's PU, to not confuse you. That is, it's fantastic. So it seems to work really well. And now that they've tweaked it so the amount of 30Ks weren't happening as much as they did when they implemented it. So 30Ks are pretty good, pretty stable. You've got server crash recovery as well. So if anything does crash, well, you and your ship, you will be able to respawn your ship with its full cargo intact. Great for cargo players. So let me announcements. No. General. What's the devs? Server meshing and persistent streaming Q&A. So, don't know if I've been. This is a clever trap. Server meshing and persistent streaming Q&A. There's some questions asked. When? There's all these deleted. So one of the things is question guidelines. So if anything breaks the question guidelines, it's automatically deleted, basically, by mods or whatever. Questions should be relevant to the topic of server meshing and persistent streaming. Please read your fellow citizens' questions first. Cool. So someone asking when, and lots of people obviously saying they don't have a timeline or whatever, replying to it in some way. Or being deleted, that's hilarious. What is the current state of the server meshing tech, and what are the biggest issues holding it back? So when, so you give us a rough timeline of what the sort of, cool. I would have reworded it so it wasn't just a when question. It was a bit cleverer asking when. But yes, I think that's a valid question really at the moment, especially since it's so important and it's been talked about so much. What is the current state of server meshing tech? What are the biggest issues holding it back? Yeah, good question. Do you plan on managing a large ship, say a Javelin? Would that be its own dedicated resource with ships around it? So can a Javelin be its own server with dynamic server meshing? Which I believe is yes, but it would be good for Cloud Imperium to talk about that and how that will interact with other object containers that are around it or other servers that are around it. If you have a fleet of multiple Javelins, are they all their own servers? Is the area of space around them a server? Does that all communicate well? I suppose we actually saw a bit of that in the CitizenCon sort of presentation there. How many players will be able to see each other in one space? Ooh. As many as possible would almost certainly what they say, but what's the maximum you're planning? What's viable? I think that's a reasonable question. If I make a base on a moon, will my base be reflected on the other shards that I'm not in? Really good point. Really good question. I've talked. A lot of these are actually things that we've talked about previously as well in a few videos. Actually, pretty much all of them in some way or another, asking, we need to know these answers. Is the true end goal one shard for all players? Good question. I think seeing what Chad McKinney recently said about it, saying we're going to be pushing towards that if possible, is basically what I read from that. But it'd be nice to know what their current roadmap and plans are. How will we be able to play with our friends from other regions? Good question. Because they were talked about being locked to shards, sort of, but you didn't notice you were locked to a shard. There's a lot of questions there. Will the economy of the universe be independent to every shard? Yes, we know that there's still the God AI and the greater simulation over the top of everything, which is affected by everyone's shards. Yeah. I think that's some reasonable questions. A lot of these questions have been answered or can't be answered, or were talked about at CitizenCon. But I mean, a lot of them are pretty reasonable to ask and are common questions. With the downstate, you or someone else happens to get into, there is a beacon you can set up for a reward of 10,000 with a basic setup. Is there a way to have the default 10,000 set up as a higher value to get someone more excited to come and get you? I don't actually know. That's a good question. I've only just been trying to get people to, I would expect there to be that option in the future, yes. But I haven't actually even thought about, I don't think you can adjust it now. You just spam out the beacon. So me and Zin have had problems trying to get rescue people because we didn't want to fake anything. We just wanted to go out and find people. People would die very often before we got to them, which is pretty annoying. Do you see Morph's comments saying that the reasons for the strange performance increase is actually due to missing assets? What do you think of that? So, obviously we saw the replace me balls in the recent patch. I mean, I say obviously. There were replace me balls around the area. There's been some problems with 3.15. They seem to be fixing a load of that stuff. When would you expect 3.15 to be released? I was hoping for the end of... It's Wave 2 now. Just gone to Wave 2. I was hoping almost certainly open PTU by the end of the week would be my expectation. And then released the week after live. That's what I'm expecting. And then a 3.15.1 patch fixing some more minor bugs and getting the Intergalactic Airspace Expo out and probably having the Redeemer and Ares in it. Yeah, we need the new star map. Yes, they are revamping it. What's the latest on the star map? That's always been my biggest detriment to my gameplay experience. Yes, I believe that Turbulent are working on it, and it's a big makeover, and there's lots of other stuff there, like mini maps and things they're working on as well. What sort of Mobiglass apps would you expect and want to be in Star Citizen? As diverse and customizable as a phone is what I want, but anything that allows you to have some more gameplay, from bounty hunting stuff to economy mods to news to every individual gameplay sort of mechanic probably having Mobiglass app associated with it. And probably ones for music and things like that. Maybe even a crossover of a real app like Spotify. Yeah, I suspect they will look at lots of similar things to that. That makes sense, right? Unfortunately, we do not have space people of the night, and we have space drugs. We do have space drugs. We have even more in 3.15. What do you think will be the final price of the Banner Merchantman? So I think it's going to go up to at least $750. I think Montoya said he thought it was going to be at least $1,000. Yes, I play... I use Tabletop Simulator for a load of board games as well. Give me ships, Chris. I'll knock on Chris Roberts' door. Give me ships. When do you think their primary focus will switch to adding gameplay loops? They are starting to do that now more frequently. I think. I do think that once Squadron 42's out, it'll be their primary focus will be just gameplay loops and expanding out the star systems. I say just, mostly. Because even the core gameplay systems, even like physical components and stuff, adds so much to salvage gameplay and customization gameplay and all this sort of stuff. What gameplay loops will be tied to the new quantum system from Tony Z in 3.16? So in 3.16, quantum, the quantum simulation does a few things. It handles combat assist beacons entirely. So what you're going to see in those combat assist beacons is going to be affected by the game universe and the makeup of exactly what each of those sort of fights or whatever it is going to be affected by that. It's going to control the price of quantum fuel, plasma fuel, and HPMC, which... Does anyone know what HPMC is? Other than it's the raw material for repair. Yeah? What does it mean? HPMC. What's that an acronym for in Star Citizen in regards to the repair material? So basically, quantum thing will be in control of the fuel prices and the repair prices and the commodities associated with those. And that will all be affected by and affect pirates, miners, and security forces, which will then sort of probability volumes will form to work out how the economy is being affected by these and simulate all this stuff. And the combat assist beacons and encounters that you see will be affected by that. So that's the stuff that the quantum simulation is affecting in 3.16, at least planned. Hot potato monster clowns. Thanks, Jag. Appreciate it. Nobody knows. I can't find a reference to it beyond me and Tony Zarovic talking about it. Those are the only references I can find to HPMC, and there is no... what is this an acronym for? Is it an acronym? It's probably hydrogen multi-carbonate or something like that. Isn't HPMC a generic aggregate of generic various repair-related materials? Yes. As far as I'm aware, it's valuable material you strip from a hull, I think, that goes into your salvage tool when we have it, and will be basically just known as HPMC. High polymer metal composite. I mean, yes, that sounds reasonable, but that's not... Where have you referenced that from? You referenced it from somewhere from Star Citizen that said that? Or if you just guessing, or is that what it means in real life? Hydrogenized metallic particulate construct. Oh my god. High potential material composite. I made it up. Yeah, but it sounds reasonable, eh? I mean, it's something like that, right? So we can have a good reckon about what it is. Maybe we'll do a competition on my channel. Have a guess what it is. Any insight on when a Caterpillar update may come? Placeholder and acronym. I can't say I can't. My words don't say that. No candy for you. Is there money? No, wait, no, don't. Any insight on when a Caterpillar update will come? No. But I think that with Custom Craft coming in 3.15, they are working on modularity a bit more. Although I think the first thing we're going to see for modularity now was originally going to be the Retaliator, but now appears to potentially be the engine for the M50. Items in my hangar can be gifted. Some of them, yes. Can gifted items be regifted? No. Thoughts? Well, eventually you'll be able to give them to other people in-game. And I suppose you can do limited gifting of items now in-game that's FPS or FPS-related gear. Say now in 3.15. Thoughts here are gifting to org leaders for use as gifts to new subs. Oh, okay. No, so he'll have to give them away by contacting you and you sending it directly to the person. And check to make sure they're giftable in the first place. Any certain things are. Please type your answer in chat to this as I'm in class currently. What? Do you think components will be affected by a planet's temperature? So just type yes. Well, you gotta listen. Gotta listen. I'm not a typer. Pedicure, yes. Yeah. I'm gonna type it for you. Okay, I'm gonna type it for him. I feel bad. I feel bad. At Indiecard. Yes. Yeah, perfect. I do think that planetary temp, ambient temp will affect the temperature of your ship. No candy, only money. Thank you very much, Ethics Gradient. Appreciated. You're a star. Thank you. Don't know if you saw my question or not. Please answer in chats. If you could choose one of the features to be implemented right away, what would it be and why? So there's physicalized components would be super important. Base building is something I desperately want, and obviously anything to do with server meshing would speed up the game. So it depends. If you pledge something as they increase the price later, is your melt value upgraded? So your melt value is not upgraded. Whenever you melt something, it is worth the value of whatever you put into it. So if you put $200 into something, it's then worth $800. You get $200 out if you melt it. However, if you upgrade that again, so if you upgrade a ship, you got your $300 ship that's gone up in price to $800. Yeah? And then you upgrade that to a $900 ship, you only pay $100 for the upgrade. You see what I mean? If you melted it, then you'd get 300. You'd get the value that you put into it in total of hard dollar. What else have we got? Genesis Starliner when? Don't know. Don't know. There's no indication of that. A while. When does the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo start? End of November is all you can find. Yes, end of November. Probably around the 20th-ish time. Thank you very much for the love. What else have we got here? Would you say that server meshing is the floodgate holding back most of the good stuff? Not necessarily. It's incredibly important. It's holding back large gameplay area and some content for sure, a big portion of content. But so is things like physicalized components, and several of the other pillars. $100i currently has no fuel intakes. Oh, does it not? That's got to be something overlooked. It should have at least some fuel intake. So, DT, I appreciate the love. Thank you. I'm from the US. How do you make the most authentic cup of English tea? Your brand. So my tea is very, very specific to me. So I have Clipper organic tea, which is a black tea with milk and sweetener. I'm not a typical Brit with my tea, and I brew my tea for a long time. Like I would probably be happy with a double bag. I like very strong tea. Do you think the FPS stealth mechanic will be a good thing in the future? At the moment, they have serious AI issues. Yes, I think that's super important for Squadron 42. We know that you're going to be stealthing around some of the stations and stuff like that there. It's going to be an important gameplay loop. At the moment, NPCs and AI are pretty broken. As time passes, do you find it easier to wait, or do you become impatient? It depends. It's individual things. So I become impatient for certain mechanics and certain things at certain times, and I find it easier to wait for others. I'm happy to wait for Star Citizen as long as they give me more information and constantly update me. Like, I'm here for the long haul of the project, so. Pro coming in 4.0. Is 4.0 a patch after 3.99? So 4.0 is just the moniker of the patch when they have server meshing and pyro. That's what they've said. So that could be after 3.18, it could be after 3.19, whatever. So somebody was thinking that Benny mentioned might top out around 700. That's, yeah, I think 750, but several ships have recreational areas in them with things like TVs, and the Caterpillar even mentions it. Do you think these will ever be functional? Yes, I think there'll be things to watch in game. Potentially things that can be streamed in game with rendered texture tech as well, live. Potentially. Hey, Bored, do you have to be related? There is light emanating from my head, yes. What else we got? Do you feel seeing more information on E-War, including E-War dedicated ships, anytime soon? Not anytime soon, but I do think it's going to be a much more focused thing, yes. And modules for ships to be able to do it, because obviously capital ships want to do E-War as well. And the Sentinel's sort of an E-War focused variant. Do you think this 3.15 will frustrate new and old players? No. As long as it's not hugely buggy, and they get the NPCs working, and the inventory isn't terrible, I think it'll be good. There isn't problems with the inventory is what I sort of mean. There's a lot of good in 3.15, like genuinely. How much do you think individual Caterpillar modules will cost? Depends on their function. Depends on their function. Also, it's hard to sort of work out what's going on with that based on the economy not being balanced at all in any way, shape, or form. Question, Endeavour, is it cancelled? No, it is just a very big science ship, and that gameplay that it's got is probably going to be completed significantly further down the line. We're talking at least a couple of years before they start talking about it. Yeah? Do you know what items you can get in loot boxes that you can't get in game, and other ways off NPCs? So, there was the large gravity tool and things like that that weren't intended to be put in there. Some Squadron 42 stuff and items. There was the thingamajig rocket launcher in there by accident as well. So there was some assets that aren't supposed to be in there. Some that are supposed to be in there. And we will be delving deep into loot boxes. I say loot boxes. It's not loot boxes. Boxes that are lootable. Once they've sort of decided what's going to be in them. And what's not supposed to be in them. I appreciate the love. For the interim period of static server meshing, have they indicated how they will handle moving from one node to another? So Microtech to... How are they going to... They'd probably put you on a different shard and move to a different shard, or maybe there's going to be some overflow. Or ways of slowing you down. Maybe they have an encounter for you or whatever. But they haven't talked about all the solutions for that, no. Have you spotted any tributes to other games in the persistent universe? Yes. I mean, there's lots of references on lockers and things. I couldn't individually think of any off by heart now, though. Make a video about individual ones, there's loads. When do you estimate 3.15 going to the PE? Going to live, basically, what you mean, because the PTU still has a persistent universe. So, second wave now, probably open PT by the end of the week, probably live by the end of next week. I was D&D the other night. Really like D&D. I get to play with a load of my friends, and it's good love. We play face-to-face as well. So we had to sort of pause during COVID time, which was not great. Right. 3.15, the best patch yet. Assuming it depends when it goes live. So, is it going to be 30k or broken or super buggy? Is the inventory going to work? So as long as it doesn't have major bugs with the new systems, yes, and it's looking good. They obviously need to get the NPCs sorted in the new bunker missions, because I actually think that will be a huge amount of gameplay there if they do get them working. And they were working, and then they broke them during the PTU. So, more 30ks in the PTU at the moment. No. Much fewer over the last day. So they rolled out a hotfix, and it seemed to solve a huge amount of the 30ks that were suddenly in the game. So at least from my experience, that's not actually true because I didn't have 30ks before either. At least from what I can read online. What do you think about the possibility of hacking and whether or not CIAG should have anti-cheat? They can have extensive logging and can actually probably work it out more better and permanently ban people. So, as long as cheaters are dealt with, if they have anti-cheat, it needs to be not too invasive on your PC. Like anti-cheat trying to have like kernel level access and stuff like that. Oh, nice 30ks were rampant last week. Yes, so they put in some stuff. It caused a load of 30ks, but now we've got server crash recovery and a hotfix, so that we've got a very stable 3.15 and server crash recovery. It's fantastic. Do you think 30k can be / are provoked on the PTU to test post 30k persistence mechanics? I think potentially they can do that, and they probably have done that occasionally. But I think it often happens as a bug or as a problem rather than them actually testing it. Sometimes I go, well, then maybe they're testing it. Maybe they are. They probably would have said that they are, though. Will we get a discount in the Play Store this November? Expect some large ship packages to be on offer. So you get loads of ships together, they'll be cheaper, effectively. And you might see starter packs discounted. Greetings to the Netherlands from the UK as well, XD Gamer or Laughy Face Gamer. Did you see all the dozens of knackered bodies spawning around the ASOP terminals at Everest Harbour? No, I did not, but I like that. Yeah, feel free to send me that, Samayeti. I'll check it out later. Appreciate it. With the Merlin being able to dock with the Constellation, how close do you think ships like the Caterpillar are to being able to detach the cockpits from... I mean, the detachment of the command module from the Caterpillar is not supposed to be used as a separate ship so much. I suppose it could be, though. I don't know how far that is along, because I don't think it's been overly prioritised. I think it's much more likely that we're going to see modules for the Caterpillar, and then a bit further out, then they'll update its command module, but I don't know. They haven't talked about it. Love you like a brother, Board. Appreciate it, Captain Kern. I love you like a viewer. Thanks. Appreciate it. I'll put it there for you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Isn't the 30k just a server disconnect? Yes. But it can be server disconnect for lots of different reasons. It could be you unplugging your modem, which obviously they have no control over, but it can be, and most often is, a server crash. But I hope you're well. How long do you think till we can sell our loot? 3.16 is where it looks like they want to have the selling of FPS weapons, loot, and gear. We are getting shields, some shield variants again, or they're starting to put variants of components back in for 3.15. There were talks about having new missions when they unlock more of a city to players. Will there be NPCs in these areas that we can start to quest? So yeah, you'll find like areas in like ArtCorp. So the buildings above that, some of those will be actual mission locations and assaults and defend and things like that. Missions as well. And as they open up more areas and more little towns and outposts around planets, yeah, they'll have NPCs there. For sure. And there's going to be Moby Glass missions and face-to-face missions that you'll get and maybe even a jobs board for doing potentially like things like you were saying, like fixing pipes in stations or restocking the machines there or doing repair work, whatever. I think that's very much going to be a supported gameplay mechanic. Years ago, I had talk of hacking missiles, a sort of probe that didn't allow you to electronically tether a hacking signal to a computer. So that's supposed to be on the Sentinel, and we don't know to what extent that's going to be supported. We know that's sort of roughly a thing, but we'll have to see if that is going to be a thing. But they just haven't talked about it for so long. Did they announce a free flight event? No, but you can expect a free flight event with the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo at the end of November. Anything on the release of the Anvil Liberator? Nope, they have not indicated when it's going to be at all. Hey, Bored, hope you're doing fantastic. In your opinion, what are the biggest impacts that 3.15 will have on mining gameplay? So encounters that you have with pirates and security forces is going to be a big one. And players coming to help you while you're mining, because we know that there's some systems involved there with the dynamic universe, helping create encounters and having pirates all coming along and attack you and stuff. So sort of bear that in mind. I think there is going to be a bit more of an economy balance there as well. Was playing in the PTU and landed my Constellation because of turret fire. I then tried to decouple my Merlin to low fly and could not. It's just undocking only in space. Or is it a bug? I haven't ever tried to undock my P-52 while it's been in atmosphere. Any news on a referral bonus for 3.15? Potentially for the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, but we haven't had anything in particular. Brewbeard, thank you very much for being a 12-month member on my YouTubes. Appreciate it. Use joysticks to play Star Citizen. So I haven't for a while. My favourite joysticks to use are Virpil Constellation Delta. That HOTAS and stick there is absolutely superb. I can heartily recommend Virpil as the best stick manufacturer I've used. There may be others in the future for sure, but they make amazing stuff. Let's say you spend 6k on pledges. Is it on release you would have an advantage going into the game? Advantage at what? You certainly would have more option in what you do. You might have a lot of maintenance costs to pay for your ships, so you might not be able to reliably run them. You still have to learn how to use all those ships. And you will need, depends on what the ship is, you'll need other people to fly them and use them with you. So if you are getting a combat ship and you're flying into an area that is PvP and you're trying to go up against people in Auroras, yes, you have a direct one-on-one advantage with them. That is not how the game is going to play out at all. And why would they be in that area anyway? You're going to be competing typically with other people of a similar mindset, shall we say, when you go into certain areas. So I want to exploit this ore. I have to have a mining ship or go in here with a ship that's going to be able to take on a mining ship. Do you see what I mean? Do you think the 400i will be available for in-game purchase? Probably in 3.16. I don't know what it will cost. Probably 6 mil. Something like that. 5-6 mil. Do you feel major growing pains with the new medical and inventory systems? Putting parts on ships is a real challenge. Yeah, so the inventory system especially. The medical system's fine. They fixed a load of the problems I had with that already. Inventory, it needs to be a lot less fiddly and much more elegant and much better UI. And yes, there are problems with it because it's just a ball ache. Still better than not having it at all. Do you think we'll see Vandal invade at some point? Yeah, you'll see that as events for sure in the future in certain systems. Do you think we'll see multi-crew swarm modes in Arena Commander? Yes, I think we'll see that in the future. P-52 undocking in atmosphere is easy. P-52 reattachment in when atmosphere is difficult. Yeah, I haven't ever undocked my P-52 in atmosphere. This is just a bug. Any chance to more studio tours? I hope so. I will be contacting CIG relatively soon. What sort of ships do you expect the Redeemer would be able to solo or defend against without backup? I don't know. Question above. What's news on the battlefield mode? Okay. With the Redeemer, we don't really know until it's in our hands, and it's going to be a very viable gunship. But it's going to come down to what you're fighting, the skill of the players, your skill, and lots going on there. And the distances that you engage, and all that sort of stuff, and where you used it. There has been no new news on Theatres of War and that battlefield mode for a while. I will be poking CIG about that soon. Do you expect a delivery system, buy big parts and then have them shipped to your home location? Yes, so I expect that there'll be fees that you can pay to have that sort of done by NPCs, or you can probably also, when you're moving ships around, probably pay players to do it as well for you. It just makes sense, right? More robust contracts. What do you think about ships that feature exterior ship/ground vehicle storage like the Nomad and the Liberator and the Kraken? Should ship shields expand beyond landed fighters for security? I like the idea that the shields of the large ships protect them, but obviously CIG have said no, the ships can clip through in some areas based on how the shields work. Okay, well, turn the shields on those ships themselves. Is there a BoredGamer org? Yes, it's a social org at the moment. We don't really use it, but we will in the future. We're going to make Zin in charge of it for the most part, for the admin of it. I have a dual verbal deltas and the rudders, but can't get them to program or work properly. Would you be able to help? I had them working fine with my Hothas and Delta a while ago. I can have a mess around with mine again and see, Captain Kern. Right. Board, what do you think is more effective, 2 Redeemers or 1 Hammerhead? Depends what for. If you want to defend yourself from ships, missiles, and torpedoes, a Hammerhead's probably going to be better. That said, probably avoid them better in the Redeemers. It's going to be different horses for different courses. I think the early post-wipe money grind will look different than it did in 3.14. Yes, because there's a load of new content and a load of different stuff to be done in 3.15. Sure. I like how the Corsair looks. Is it worth grabbing one? Depends. So it's a perfectly supposed to be a great mid, pushing on the high tier explorer ship. Also pretty good at multi-role. We'll know more about the Corsair in the quite near future. Did you enjoy your MA time today? Yes, but I am going to be dashing off now. Thank you very much, Samayeti. I appreciate you and Jaybird turning up to mod. You're just legends. Thank you. How much cash do you need to spend to become an Evocati member? It's not based on concierge status or anything like that. Concierge is $1,000. Evocati is just you need to be active on the issue council and that sort of stuff. You don't get preferential treatment for spending money for the Evocati stuff. And Evocati's a chore. They want certain people. Preferably people that don't leak, I would expect as well. Where will you set your starting location in 3.15 live? Probably Orison, though I do hope that they reduce the distance before you can travel out and quantum travel, because it takes me so long to get out of atmosphere. When will the Merchant be back on sale? Jeff, it should be on sale during the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo at the end of November. I appreciate the love, Samayeti. I appreciate the love, J-Bird. You guys are stars. And thank you, gently, from everyone else. Thank you very much for anyone that donated or dropped me a sub. That is very much appreciated. What's your thoughts on ballistic ammo capacity? I want to see more tweaks to that, and I want to see the opportunity for certain weapons and smaller... Can I have a smaller ballistic weapon and large ammo capacity for it on certain hard points, things like that. So I do want to... I do want some choices there. But they have not let us know exactly what's going on with that. Hexter, so appreciate the love, thank you. We've had a bunch of new Evos added, about 2,500 people who have been active on the issue council. We have had recently some new Eva Cardi members, yes, that is true. Do you think the 400i rear turret should collapse and flush with the hull? Okay. No, I think they're fine where they are. I mean, I understand what you mean, but yeah. What do you think the 200 will look like? We don't know if there is going to be a 200. Can you use Polarisar to access your ships and inventory from Orison? Definitely your ships, yes. I believe you can access your inventory as well, but I haven't. The problem is that Polarisar doesn't have a clinic. So, I haven't actually been spending much time there. You change your home point after you've set it in the menu. Not your home point, but you can change your spawn point by going to a medical terminal in that hospital or clinic. Do light fighters like the Gladiators have vehicle inventory? So it's anything with an internal, so anything you can stand in internally as a vehicle inventory. Other ships might have an external inventory that you can access, though. So. I've just sold my gaming laptop, so I'm looking into Shadow. So I used to promote them, haven't been promoting them over the last year or so because they had some financial trouble and got bought by another company. I don't know about their current offerings. I know that they're planning to expand and do lots of other stuff. So I will get back into Shadow and looking at it again very soon. Actually, that's probably a good reminder for check out Shadow again. I'll check them out and see what they're doing. I don't want to overly promote something or promote anything that I don't know what's going on with. Restarting location choice. Where is / was the jump point located in Stanton? In Stanton. There's going to be multiples in Stanton. I think it was... So they removed Nix, not Nix. Delamar, which is approximately where the Pyro jump point is going to be, I believe. Hey board, did we have an update on the features from Inside Stars and they changed the light bulb and forced doors? I think it's tied to resource management system, but I'm not sure. We know there is going to be resource management systems and things like that, but I would have to go back and look at that. I am going to dash off in a second. When is the Reclaimer snub the cutter coming? We don't know. We don't actually have much information on the cutter. They're supposed to have a snub originally, sort of. We might see it in the future. I would expect to see something like a snub salvage craft, though. Do you think we'll see the Redeemer in 3.15? I think we'll see it in 3.15.1 as part of the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, yes. Do you think we're going to have animals and creatures and an AI for that for 4.0? I think it's a strong possibility. I do think we can probably see the Microtech Yeti and Pyro Crab pretty soon. Probably. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell with that sort of stuff because they don't show us enough. They talk about it occasionally. It's hard to tell how far it is ahead. Hatsune Miku, hello again, board. Do you think the interior of the 600i will get reworked with the gold standard? We know it is getting some updates, yes. So my expectation is that it would be done at the same time as it being brought up to gold standard. So it is getting some updates. When will we get blades? So AI blades, they're working on them. Don't know when they're coming in. We do know that some of the modular AI blade stuff for turrets, they had worked on that to some extent for the Bengal carrier that they showed in game. They had to make a streamlined version of the tech for the turrets there so that they could all operate because it was quite a big undertaking. Do you see ramming a ship door open with a dragonfly within an armistice zone as a type of glitching? I mean, I like it. That's gameplay. Do you think we will get a medium carrier? Are we pushing that with the Anvil Liberator, or are you talking about something a bit bigger? And then When you talk about something a bit bigger, are you talking about a Kraken? Yeah, they need to fix AI first. Yes, lots more AI work that needs to be done. With the new upcoming looting of the dead body systems, there is only so much we can carry. Yes, the trolley seems like something that would be worth while helping you get stuff back. So the best thing to do, actually, is just to bring the bodies back of the people with your tractor beam. So use your tractor tool on a body. You can bring the bodies back, loot them later. But I understand what you mean by let's use trolleys and stuff like that. I appreciate you using the updated emotes, Jaybird. I've just updated them earlier today. I am going to dash off now. Thank you very much for everyone joining me. It's very much appreciated. I'm going to find someone else that is streaming on the Twitches that we can... I'm going to find some... Oh, that's all right. So, yeah, for November, end of November, you can expect Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. And with that, I'm expecting to see a free fly. Every day we'll have a new manufacturer. Every couple of days, a new manufacturer that they'll have all the ships rentable of at the expo, which should be on Horizon. And you'll see all these ships on sale as well, along with things like Javelins, things like Idris, which will be on sales in very limited amounts. But I'm expecting to see a bit more than just an expo and a free fly, although that's pretty good. I have had rumours of other things that are happening, but I'm also expecting to see the Redeemer and the Ares available to fly as part of the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo as well. I think there's a lot to look forward to. Obviously, it's looking like 3.15 will go live at the very beginning of, or early November as well. So, yeah, roll on November. Thank you very much for the love. Thank you very much for joining me today. It's very much appreciated. I'm going to leave you with... I'm going to drop you over to SMB, Super Mac Brothers Ryan, /raid. Boop. Oh, god damn it. /raid. Boop. Right. Thanks so much for joining me today. I love you later, guys. I'll probably be getting a video out on... Since on a lore video, we also have a video about salvage. So one of those two will come out today.